So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Brian Norman Jr., the current welterweight champion. Now this video is probably long overdue, but I thought I'd just give you like my thoughts in regards to where I believe he should go next, and his last performance and potential new or up and coming fight maybe the back end of this year. So for those that are new to my channel, please subscribe, and for those that are already subscribed, thank you. So for those that know Brian Norman Jr., yeah, you could probably leave me some thoughts in the comments to how good you believe he is. Now I'm going to be honest, until he started calling out Boots Ennis, I didn't even know who this guy was, to be fair. And then I recognised, I was like, Jesus, this guy's is a champion, is a welterweight champion, and that surprised me even more because 9 times out of 10, if you're a champion and not a lot of people know about you, then there's something going wrong, in terms of your promotion, your team, etc. And also as well, when I started watching boxing, you know what I mean, like welterweight division was the main division in boxing, and because it had the biggest names in and around that weight. But now it's probably one of the worst divisions in boxing, to be honest. But anyhow, we're here to talk about Brian Norman Jr. Now, his last performance, his last two, to be fair, have been very, very good. Like performances for him, and he's come out with two big KOs, like one stoppage, one KO. Now, his last one against Jin Sasaki. Never heard of that guy, by the way, who Sasaki is. He absolutely annihilated him, obliterated him like crazy, and the punch that finished it was brilliant, and it could go down as maybe one of the knockouts of the year, to be honest. But he did flatten him as well. Junior flattened him in the first half for the fight, for his first round, first or second round, and then obviously both guys have been trading up until that point, which was up until the fifth round before he got the stoppage and the knockout. So yeah, he is, for me, a bit of an unknown gem, really, I'd say, because he's got something, Brian Norman Jr. Um, it's decent. And looking at the welterweight scene right now, we know that Boots Ennis has obviously moved up to 156, so he's vacated his belt. I believe as well, I'm not 100% sure, you can let me know in the comments below, but Lewis Crocker, a Brit, and Paddy Donovan, an Irish guy. Both guys are going to be fighting for that vacant belt, I believe. But anyhow, the other champions in the division, you've got Barrios, who is fighting Manny Pacquiao, which I've done a video on that, and I believe that is crazy, to be honest. Shouldn't be happening, but anyhow. And then you've got Rolly Romero, who isn't the best, is he? He's not great, but he's a welterweight champion. So yeah, I believe that Brian Norman Jr. has got a good chance, a good chance of possibly clearing up this division. Because I'm sitting here and I'm looking through the rankings and looking through some of the names that are ranked in certain divisions, and I can't really see a fighter that I'd be like, he's the best of them all, because they're near enough around the same. But what I've seen of Brian Norman Jr. is that he can box. He's got the boxing pedigree, you know what I mean? But he can trade as well. He can stand there and he can trade it with you at close quarters, but he could also bang, and he's got that power. He's got that instant knockout power as well. So for me, he's quite all-rounded. Now, don't get me wrong. If he was to somehow fight against Boots Ennis, then I'm going to pick Boots Ennis all day, because I just believe Boots Ennis has got that brain, that boxing brain, that pedigree, that good boxing ability to not try and mix it and to keep him at bay and make the fight as boring as you want to win the fight, sort of thing. So I would always pick Boots Ennis to beat Brian Norman Jr. But as I said, for the guys that are left in this division, I think he's got a good shout of potentially clearing up this division. Brian Norman Jr. and hopefully he could possibly try and do that before some of the smaller fighters, the bigger names of the smaller fighters at 140, maybe push up as well. And we've also got one big name two big names that have moved up recently. You got Ryan Garcia, you got Devin Haney. Now, both of these guys in their last performances in May, it was shocking. It was poor. It was a snore fest. It was just ridiculously shambolic, to be honest. And I, I think Brian Norman Jr. could beat both of these. Now, currently, there's been a verbal agreement between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. to potentially have a fight November this year. Okay, I'll put the link as well to that article in the um, in the notes below. But there's been a verbal agreement between the pair, so that would be a brilliant fight for Brian Norman Jr. And if it does I can't get words out. Materialize, I can't get words today. I'm gonna pick Brian Norman Jr. to win, and I'll probably pick him to win by knockout. And I know some of you are probably thinking, knockout, really? He's gonna get his head boxed off him, but I can't see it like that. Based on Devin Haney's last performance, yes, he boxed okay, but it was boring. He didn't want to mix it at all. He only threw a couple of shots. Brian Norman Jr. will try and track him down in that fight and get as close as he can to try and make Devin Haney fight with him, stand and trade, and that's where he's going to come off second best. So that's why I fully believe that if that fight does materialise, it's signed on paper, they do get in the ring, I'm going to put my money on Brian Norman Jr. beating him. And that would be a big upset because the Haneys would see that as a upset because they believe that Devin's the best thing since sliced bread. But Devin's not the same. Devin's not the same. Ryan Garcia really did a number on him psychologically and physically. And there should be some comeuppance against that because he's ruined his career basically in my eyes. So yeah, I think that'd be interesting, and that's the fight that I was talking about, which could maybe be a potential for the back end of this year. They're saying November, but I think Brian Norman Jr. and his team are looking for no catch weight, if you know what I mean. Which I think is right because they're both going to be welterweight, so they don't need any rehydration or anything like that. They just want a 147, no rehydration, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's just my thoughts in regards to Brian Norman Jr. I give him a good chance of maybe clearing up the welterweight scene. Obviously, you've got Conor Benn fluctuating around there somewhere. And Conor Benn will certainly be up there as well if he chooses to come back to welterweight. But I don't know if he will. I honestly don't know if he will. I think he'll probably be one of these big prize fighters now and try and maybe just entice the biggest names of the sport into fights and make as much money as he can because obviously he's had all them bills to pay, etc. But yeah, let's wait and see. Brian Norman Jr. is a decent unknown talent in my eyes, and I didn't think I would be saying that because when he was calling out Boots Ennis, I was like, this guy's smoking crack. But after his last couple of performances and what I've seen so far, I actually think he's got something there. But these are my thoughts, as always. It'd be good to hear your thoughts in regards to, especially this Brian Norman Jr. If you heard of him or watched him fight or anything like that, it'd be good to get your thoughts. And yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Bless.